Hey guys!
Hey guys!
It's time for another Walking Dead review. This time we're reviewing The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 7, titled Heads Up. If you haven't seen the episode yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Alright, first of all, we were right. Glenn's alive, scooched underneath the dumpster and waited out the herd.
Yeah.
And in a genius move, I mean, he killed a few of the walkers around him and presumably, I guess, drugged some other ones that he and Nicholas had killed before Nicholas killed himself, you know.
Yeah, he did. He somehow is either by killing them or dragging their bodies got himself completely surrounded by walkers, which masked his scent, masked the sight of him, and also would muffle some of any sounds that he might have been making.
Yeah.
So they eventually just lost interest.
Yeah. And then Enid throws him down a bottle of water and says, "Heads up," and he totally just, he muffs it and just, whoops. And she's like, "I said heads up." You gotta love Enid.
Yeah.
This was actually a really good episode for Enid.
Yeah, it's like she's seen so much bad that she's just given up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what, like, she doesn't want to be around people, because if she's around people, then they could die.
Yeah.
And if she's not around people, then the only person she has to worry about is herself, and she doesn't have to grieve if anybody else dies.
Yeah. But Glenn takes it upon himself to get her back to Alexandria, because that's what Maggie would do, and it's the right thing to do. And, you know, it would be really easy for Glenn to become jaded in this situation.
Yeah.
And be like, you know, whatever, I need to get back to my wife, do whatever you're going to do, and just leave. You know, that would have been completely an okay thing to do in this situation, I would think. But that's still, Glenn still does the right thing.
Yes. And just based on, like, the conversation that he was having with Enid, asking her who she was staying with and, like, stuff like this, I think that maybe him and Maggie might adopt Enid once he makes it back. Like, they might be like, "Hey, why don't you stay with us?" And because I think he sees that she needs parents.
Yeah.
You know, and she's been there long enough. Obviously, nobody else has stepped up, so I think him and Maggie will.
Like, Denise just doesn't seem like the kind of person who Enid will look up to and respect in a level that you really kind of need, that she needs, because she's, you know, in her early teens, very rebellious stage for any person, I mean, let alone in the zombie apocalypse.
And she's been out there on her own a lot, and she came in and saw how weak all the Alexandrians were.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the Alexandrians could adopt her and have her accept that. Like, Maggie and Glenn are really, like, somebody from our group is gonna have to do it, because that's the only person she's going to respect and look up to enough to allow them to become a parental figure.
And by the end of the episode, it does seem like Glenn has earned her respect and maybe a little bit of admiration and trust, and they're slowly building a bond.
Yeah.
I really thought they would make us wait longer, though, before we got the confirmation that Glenn is alive.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was at the beginning of this episode. I thought for sure we would get it at the very end of next episode. Like, that's when they would finally let us know he was alive.
Yeah, I always thought that they were going to make us wait until the 6B premiere. Like, I was like, that's how I would do it. I would mess with people and put it off as long as I could. Because mid-season premieres tend to be a little more positive in nature, not totally positive, but a little more. And I thought, you know, the confirmation that Glenn is alive would have been a really good kind of affirmation to lead off the second half of the season with.
Since they didn't do that, though, originally we thought that the reunion between him and Maggie would be at towards the very end of B, and now I'm wondering if that doesn't happen in the premiere.
Yeah.
Like they're just stepping up that story a little bit.
Mid-season finales tend to be pretty depressing with a lot of deaths, and they're very negative episodes. So I don't think we're going to get any kind of reunion between Glenn and Maggie in the next episode. The next episode, the 6A finale, is going to be lots of deaths, and it's going to end on a cliffhanger, because mid-season finales just do.
Yeah, and we've got the herd that broke in because the church collapsed at the end. So we have all of that that's going on. We also have Glenn on the radio to Daryl saying help.
Yeah.
So he hasn't done that yet. He's not in that situation yet. We assumed it was because he was under the dumpster and he had to be quiet. Obviously, we're still assuming he's surrounded by walkers and hoping Enid's still with him. But we haven't gotten that situation yet. So that probably happened.
It has totally leaked who was on the radio, Daryl. We have not watched the leak or read anything about it or anything like that. So please don't post that in the comments. We like to be surprised.
Yes, we do.
So let's talk about Ron for a moment. Rick decides to teach Ron how to shoot because Ron asked him, and Rick and Carl are there teaching him. And Carl just kind of keeps chiming in with, oh yeah, you'll learn. Oh yeah, this part's easy, and you can just see that's really getting to Ron.
Yeah, and Ron's had a plan from the beginning. Like I've never trusted that kid, and he went to Rick to learn how to shoot because he had a plan for that. And we find that out at the end when he's following Carl and he pulls a gun out of his waistband.
He had stole the bullets out of the pantry. So
he went to Rick to learn how to shoot so that he could shoot his son. That is exactly that's exactly what his plan.
Now, what his end game is, like, what do you do after that?
I don't know.
Because you have literally the baddest man on the planet, and you're going to shoot his son.
He probably didn't think that far through.
What is step 2 from that, Ron? Come on, dude.
He probably didn't think that far ahead. It's he's still a kid, so. He was like, Rick killed my dad, Carl took my girlfriend, I'm going to shoot Carl. That's probably as far as he's gotten.
Moving on to Morgan, Rick calls a meeting with Morgan, and it's Rick and Michonne and Carol all talking to Morgan about, look, he basically tells them about the RV and how the wolves, they came and they tried to get him and they had a gun. Did you let anybody go? And Morgan, he owns up to it because, of course, Morgan's an honest guy. Of course he's going to own up to it. And, Carol's just like, she lays into him really hard.
Yeah. I think it's, that conversation and Morgan's answers and stuff, I think he's afraid to kill again, because I think he is afraid that if he allows himself to kill somebody, he's going to degrade back into what he was prior to this point, before he got the all life is precious mantra.
And he seems to be a big believer in serendipity, because Rick didn't kill him back in King County, and Morgan lived to save Daryl and Aaron. So he's like, basically life is kind of poetic, and there's serendipity in the world, and you don't kill somebody because you never know how they might be beneficial later. People change, that kind of thing. And Carol says this great line, actually later on in the episode, when she's talking to Sam, who still won't come downstairs. She tells Sam, the only thing that keeps you from becoming a monster is killing. So Carol has literally the 100% opposite opinion than Morgan. And what she says, you have to kill the bad people because otherwise something bad will happen to you, and then you're kind of in a roundabout way, you're a menace because your actions or lack of action is detrimental to the people around you. And dangerous to the people around you. And then there's Spencer's misadventure. That guy, I gotta tell you, I don't know, like, again, what is his end game? He's like, I thought I could lure them away. Really, dude? And Rick even calls him, he's like, have you ever made a climb like that before? And he's like, no.
Like, it was, oh my gosh, it was all sorts of awful. And Rick lays into him. He's like, next time you have a plan, you need to bring it to me because I wouldn't have let you do that because it was an idiotic idea, basically.
But Tara in that scene was amazing.
Tara was so badass.
She's hanging off the wall, picking off walkers.
And Rick Rick's got this division in his mind between his people and the Alexandrians. He's yet to fuse them together. And he gets mad at Tara for risking her life for one of them. And she
gives him the finger.
And later kind of reminds him, it's not them and us. That's what we do. We help each other out. Like, she's reminding him that this group is now our group. We are we're all the same.
And she's actually the perfect person to remind him of this because she was an enemy in season 4. You know, she was part of the governor's invasion group that took down the prison, and Rick accepted her into his group. And so the fact that she's now reminding him that, you know, this is how we do it. You know, we accept people and we help them and we take care of each other. There's no better character to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll resonate a little more with Rick now, because it apparently didn't when Daryl, in the brief conversation they had, when Daryl, you know, was talking about wanting to bring more people in.
Yeah.
And of course the episode ends with the church collapsing. It takes down the wall and in come the walkers. And after 7 episodes, finally the beginning of the No Way Out arc.
Yep.
Which we've been waiting for all season long. I thought it was going to happen before the season started. I thought we'd start No Way Out really fast, and then that whole arc would take the whole season. But no, it took the whole half of the season just to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be really rapid fire and fast paced, but they burned it really slow. And in the end, it's pretty darn rewarding.
Yeah, it worked. They added stuff in that totally worked. Like, there was whole other stories added in that worked to push that arc off a little bit. So, and it's been so tense just waiting for it. We're like, when is it gonna happen?
And what's awesome is the church falls down. So I mean, we have at the beginning of the episode Gabriel trying to organize a prayer circle, and then the church falls and takes down the wall. So what kind of tragic poetry is that? This ironic tragedy that The Walking Dead loves to do. But what was also really great about that scene is it came right out of a very happy moment when Maggie saw the balloons.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's Glenn. Glenn's coming back.
Yeah.
And then the church falls.
And what was great is that everybody was turning to look at the balloons, and everybody was seeing everybody, so they were turning, and it just happened to be in the right direction for them all to see the church collapse into the wall.
So they have this moment of elation followed by a moment of terror and dread.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I'm really excited for the 6A finale next week.
Yes. Who's gonna die?
Who's gonna die? We will do our predictions video for the 6A finale tomorrow, so look out for that. Is that everything? I think that's everything.
I think so.
Alright, we're pretty sure that's everything for this review. If we missed anything, got anything wrong, or if you think we should have talked about something and we didn't, let us know it down in the comments and we can discuss it down there. Also, if you enjoyed this review, and we certainly hope you did, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.